You're listening to the WrestleHavoc Podcast on YouTube, where we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. We talk all that goes on in the realm of WWE and AEW every week. And now, here's your host, the one that will give you a reality check on pro wrestling, Flamin' Ricky DeReyes. This is the WrestleHavoc Podcast.
What's up, everybody? It is Flamin' Ricky DeReyes right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast, here to review Monday Night Raw from January 1st, 2024. Happy New Year's to all of you. Of course, we're bringing in the new year with the Raw review with Raw Day 1. And this show was hyped to the masses. And from what it looks like, WWE is kicking off the year with a bang. And of course, when it comes to this whole Raw show, we can't talk about Raw Day 1 without talking about the return of the former WWE Champion that was being talked about all over social media all throughout the past couple of days. Of course, Triple H addressed these rumors on Twitter a couple of days ago and basically just told us to stay tuned. And boy, we did stay tuned, and it ended up being none other than the People's Champion. Yes, the People's Champion himself, The Rock, has returned to WWE, and honestly, man, it was great seeing The Rock, especially considering the fact that he was in the same area a couple hours away from where Raw was emanating, so I would think it was pretty obvious that it was going to be The Rock. There was actually a lot of speculation as it regards to who this mystery person that was going to be making their return. A lot of people were saying Batista. Now, if Batista was the guy that made their return, it would have been for an announcement of a Hall of Fame induction, but that wasn't the case. Some people were even pointing out Andrade El Idolo. Now, Andrade is not a former WWE champion. He never won the world title in the WWE. He only won the NXT title, and I believe he did win the US title as well, but he never won the world title. But there was a lot of speculation as it regards to Andrade as well, considering Andrade finished up with AEW this past Saturday against Miro at the World's End pay-per-view in Long Island. But it ended up not being Andrade. I assume we're probably going to be getting Andrade maybe this coming Friday on SmackDown, but we're going to have to wait and see. But we got The Rock. And The Rock, of course, faced off against Jinder Mahal. And when Jinder Mahal came out, it was hilarious because literally Jinder Mahal is somebody that just, in my opinion, nobody gives a damn about. But The Rock, of course, in his closing line after doing the stuff that he was doing with Jinder Mahal, which was a hilarious segment, by the way, he mentioned one little thing, and he called out the tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. That is the big story coming out of this episode of Monday Night Raw. The Rock calls out Roman Reigns, and from what it looks like, it's not official, but knowing the last line of The Rock, clearly that match is definitely going to be happening. Of course, I have a lot of feelings regarding the Rock versus Roman match. I hate when people still talk about The Rock versus Roman Reigns because, let's be real honest with ourselves, if there was a time and place to do The Rock versus Roman Reigns, it should have been last year at last year's WrestleMania, but they didn't do it because The Rock had conflicting scheduling, and The Rock still has a lot of conflicting scheduling with his whole schedule. So honestly, when it comes to The Rock versus Roman Reigns, it is still a big money match. But I will say, and this is a big deal for me, do not, and I mean this wholeheartedly, do not book The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And I will be talking about that later on this show because I see a lot of people saying that match should happen at WrestleMania, and it should not. If there's a time and place to do The Rock versus Roman Reigns, it is in Australia at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view event because, number one, it is a stadium show in Australia. Not only that, if you really want a double bang for your buck, you got The Rock versus Roman Reigns on one show, and you got Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania Night 2, with most likely on Night 1 having a CM Punk versus Seth Rollins match. So literally, it's a win-win-win for everybody. So honestly, they should not do Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania. But I'll talk about more of that and go more in depth as we head to this review. But overall thoughts on this Raw Day 1 show besides The Rock. I thought it was a pretty decent show. Was it the best show that I've ever seen? No, but I will say I thought the 3 hours definitely flowed very well on this show. Usually when I watch an episode of Raw, especially now, I know a lot of people are praising a lot of the things that WWE is doing, and rightfully so. Raw is still a tough watch for me, considering the fact that the show is 3 hours. It is hard to sit through a 3-hour wrestling show. It just is difficult. SmackDown is an easier watch for me. Dynamite is an easier watch for me, on most weeks at least, considering, you basically get amazing stuff on Dynamite, but nowadays you kind of get some crappy stuff on Dynamite nowadays as well. Also, Collision is an easy watch, considering all of those shows that I just mentioned are 2 hours. But when it comes to the 3-hour format, I don't know, man. I'm still not a fan of the 3-hour format, but I will say the 3 hours definitely flowed for me on this show, but that's not going to be every week. But nonetheless, I definitely enjoyed the show for what it was. We had matches like Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax, which surprisingly was a great match. Usually I was going to kind of shrug off this match, but surprisingly this match was pretty good. Rhea Ripley defended her women's world title against, of course, Ivy Nile of the Diamond Mine. Of course, she's partnered with the Creed brothers. As well as we had a main event match with Seth Rollins defending his World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre. And you had a lot of people thinking that Seth Rollins was actually going to drop his world title on this show to either Drew McIntyre or having Damian Priest cashing his Money in the Bank. But there was a cash-in attempt, but it was unsuccessful, and Damian Priest still has the briefcase, or it was not official, but he tried to cash in during the match. But overall, I thought the Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre match was absolutely phenomenal. Everything about it was great. The last few moments of the match was really good. Everything a world title match should be. Let's be brutally honest with ourselves. But it was a very, very, very good match. And, of course, we had The Rock return, and everybody, coming out of this show, everybody is just talking about The Rock basically calling out Roman Reigns, and it basically sets up The Rock versus Roman Reigns. And of course I will be talking about that later on in this review, because it's creating a lot of discussion and a lot of divide on social media. But before we get on with all this craziness, please make sure to like and subscribe to the WrestleHavoc channel right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the friggin' referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. And one thing I want to note, of course, it is the new year, and I want to be more consistent with my content. I want to grow the WrestleHavoc brand into something big this year in 2024, and I'm coming out with a different variety of content. Starting tomorrow, I don't know what time in the time frame throughout the day I'm going to be uploading it, but I'm going to be coming back to you with WrestleHavoc Daily. Yes, WrestleHavoc Daily. It was kind of short-lived throughout the fall, but it's going to be coming back, and it's going to be a completely new format. So hopefully I can give you guys news and rumors on everything going on in the realm of professional wrestling. So starting tomorrow, you guys will be getting a video of WrestleHavoc Daily. I'll be talking about Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné is in the news, and from what it looks like, she's on her way to AEW. We're going to be talking about MJF as well. Of course, MJF dropped the AEW World title to Samoa Joe this past Saturday at the World's End pay-per-view, and he's removed off of the AEW roster page, and I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on that. Kevin Dunn is removed, or not removed, or he is actually leaving WWE, and we're going to be talking about the brand new AEW World Championship belt design. All that we're going to be talking about tomorrow on WrestleHavoc Daily. WrestleHavoc Daily is going to be returning tomorrow, and it's going to be a completely different format. I am not going to be in this setting. I'm basically going to be in the same setting, but I'm actually going to be standing up talking. It's going to be a completely new format. I want it to be something unique and different from everything else that I have been doing as well. Also, I'm going to be going forward with a lot of the YouTube Shorts and TikToks, so expect a lot of those, and also expect a video, an audio commentary video of me discussing the World's End pay-per-view. That is another video that I want to do, and that's a lot of Those are the other types of videos that I really want to do. I really, really, really want to do audio commentary. I already wrote down the script for everything that I'm going to be saying. It's going to be very interesting, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that content as well. Again, I really want to grow this channel, not just a channel, but I really want to grow this into a brand, the WrestleHavoc brand, and I want to give you guys a variety of different content. So be on the lookout for all of those types of content right here on the WrestleHavoc channel. Moving on, though. Let's start with Monday Night Raw. Let's kick off the show. The show kicks off with Michael Cole and Wade Barrett basically in the ring, hyping up the entire card. Of course, this show has been hyped up for days, especially with the tweet of Triple H addressing the rumors of a former WWE Champion making his return. And I like that. I like the fact that they're really making this show a big deal, and that is something that I've really been enjoying. And that's really the case with a lot of WWE shows, especially their PLEs. I mean, WWE right now is doing monster business, and it does not stop, man. Sellout crowd after sellout crowd after sellout crowd. They're on fire right now. But then we get our first match of the evening with Becky Lynch facing off against Nia Jax. Now, coming into this match, I wasn't really all excited. Yes, I know. Shock. It's a shock. I wasn't really excited for this match, but I will say, man, after watching this match tonight on Raw, I mean, the match was pretty good. A lot of people are even saying that this was probably Nia Jax's best match, not only in her entire, WWE match catalog, but her entire return, run so far. So I can't disagree with that. And another thing that I've been really enjoying about all of these matches that were basically run down was the fact that they were really, really, really diving you deep in all of these video packages. WWE, of course, are masters at video packages, and this show was basically treated like a pay-per-view, and before every major match they would air, a big video package to basically get the viewer, informed about everything that has been going on, which is something that WWE is known to do, and that is something that I really, really, really enjoy. They air video packages to let a potential viewer that hasn't followed the programs for the past couple of weeks to know what is going on. And that is exactly what we had with this Becky Lynch and Nia Jax match and the rest of the other matches that were on this show. Basically, the story of the match was, of course, this match, I believe, was 6 years in the making. I don't think they had a one-on-one match whatsoever. I believe Michael Cole on commentary even stated that this was the first time ever that they were in a one-on-one match. Of course, this is dating back when Nia Jax famously punched Becky Lynch in the face when SmackDown was invading Raw in the build-up to Survivor Series back in 2018. Hence why we have the Man. That was basically the birth of the Man, Becky Lynch character. But let's go through this match. Both women face off. We get a back elbow by Becky. She goes to the second rope but gets caught. Nia has her up, but then Becky escapes. Becky goes for the enziguri, but then Nia picks her up and slams her down. We get a splash into the corner by Nia Jax, and then we get a small elbow drop by Nia Jax. Nia is in control working on Becky. Becky tries to fight back, but then she ends up going for a spinning elbow. Becky then gets caught into a bear hug by Nia Jax. Becky ends up going for a sunset flip. Becky ends up hitting the blockbuster. We get a cover and a kick out. Becky then tries to go for the Bexploder. I still call it an Exploder, but she goes for the Bexploder suplex, but Nia escapes. Becky goes to the top. We get a blockbuster type move. I believe it was a blockbuster. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I completely missed that spot. She goes for the blockbuster, but then Nia escapes. Becky goes to the top, but then once again we get the blockbuster type move. We get a running dropkick by Becky, but then Becky gets taken to the apron. Becky goes to the top. She ends up hitting a shotgun dropkick off the top. Once we're back from commercial break, they were doing the picture-in-picture commercial breaks. Both women are on the top, and she goes for the sunset flip powerbomb. And then she takes out Nia back off the top. So she goes for the sunset flip powerbomb. She goes back to the top, and then she takes her out. After that, Nia goes for the leg drop, but she misses. And what happens? She lands on the apron. If you guys do not remember, that was a callback from, I believe, a couple of years ago on Raw, where Nia Jax tried to do the same thing, and she landed on her ass on the apron, and she was screaming, "My hole," thus a meme was born. Granted, she didn't say "my hole," but it would have been much funnier if she said "my hole." I'm not going to lie. Moving on. Becky goes for the baseball slide, but then Nia wants to hit a right hand, but lands onto the ring post. Good God, it's not a night for Nia Jax, I'll tell you that. We get a headbutt by Nia Jax, but then Becky is on the barricade, but then Nia wants to go for the cannonball senton. After that, Nia misses and lands on the barricade. Nia then comes back into the ring at the count of 9. She was this close to getting counted out in the match. Becky is off the top. She ends up hitting the leg drop. After that, we get a cover and a near fall. Becky then tries to apply the disarmer, but we get a roll up by Nia, and then we get a near fall again. Becky then rolls into an armbar, but then Nia gets up on her feet. Then she powers up Becky, and then she goes for the sit-out powerbomb. We get a cover and a near fall. After that, Becky gets dragged into the corner. Nia goes to the top, but then Becky comes back and goes to the top rope. Becky then wants to go for the manhandle slam, but then Nia picks her up and ends up hitting the Samoan drop. After the Samoan drop spot, we get a cover and another kick out by Becky Lynch. Nia goes to the top, but then she gets dumped on the apron. Becky goes straight for the attack. She goes to the top, but then runs into a right hand by Nia Jax. And actually, what was interesting is that they mentioned this was actually really cool. So Becky runs into a right hand. When Becky goes to the top, she drops down, and what happens is she lands into a right hand by Nia Jax. And on commentary, they mentioned that this was the same right hand that broke Becky Lynch's nose back in 2018. Then Nia goes off of the top. She hits the Annihilator, and we get a cover, and Nia Jax gets the win and beats Becky Lynch clean dead center in the ring. Overall thoughts on this match. Again, I thought this was a really, really, really good opening match. And another thing that I didn't mention about this match is the fact of how the crowd in San Diego, because Raw was emanating from San Diego, the crowd was just absolutely invested in this match. Not like full invested, but you can tell the crowd was loving what they were seeing. And Becky Lynch looked great. I've had my fair share of criticisms of Nia Jax, and I still will criticize Nia Jax a lot. I am not the biggest Nia Jax fan. Hey, at least she is not Abaddon. Abaddon is god-awful. At least Nia Jax can do something. A lot of people are saying that this was definitely Nia Jax's best match, and honestly, I cannot disagree. I can't disagree. This was one of Nia Jax's best matches throughout her entire WWE run, in my opinion. And one thing that I really loved about the match is I love the callback to the right hand, of course, on commentary, as I stated while I was going through the match. The right hand that broke Becky Lynch's nose back in 2018, that is now an official move from Nia Jax, and of course it hit Becky, and they were selling the fact that Becky was actually bleeding as well, in which she was. So I really enjoyed that. From what it looks like, this feud is not going to be over, and I would assume they're probably going to be booking a rematch at the Royal Rumble. So we're going to have to wait and see what they do, but nonetheless, very good opening match to kick off Day 1 Monday Night Raw. We get a video package of course, what happened of the Nightmare Before Christmas by Shinsuke Nakamura, in which basically Shinsuke Nakamura was running down Cody Rhodes' family, and then after that, Cody Rhodes went on to attack Shinsuke Nakamura, which led to this segment with Cody Rhodes right here. Cody Rhodes, of course, Cody Rhodes, the man that is set to be the face of the company, or he already kind of is the face of the company, but the man that will most likely and hopefully face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Goddamn, the crowd loves Cody Rhodes. The crowd is up on their feet for Cody Rhodes. Of course, they love doing the whoa with, of course, the Kingdom theme song. But let's go on with this promo that Cody Rhodes cut. So, San Diego, what do you want to talk about? He has the privilege to be the first superstar in the ring to welcome us to Raw Day 1. It's a new year. Folks like to talk about their goals, but adamantly, he is a little stuck. And what has gotten stuck is him and Shinsuke Nakamura. Don't get me wrong, he is a force to be reckoned with, but with his rendition, he was expecting something more sophisticated. And he isn't stuck on him in the things that he said on his family or his poison mist. He fought just fine. He is stuck on him because this should be over. Just like the Brock Lesnar feud. He wants this to be over with, but it ain't over with. This should be over, and he will give him a shot to finish it tonight. Cody Rhodes has all of his gear on. He wants to face off against Shinsuke Nakamura. So go ahead. Bring your poison mist. Bring your words. This ends, and this ends right now. So he basically calls out Shinsuke Nakamura for a match. But what happens? Shinsuke is on the Tron. Cody. He continues to speak in Japanese, and he basically says, we're not going to fight tonight. We're going to fight maybe a week from now. And Cody basically gets no answer. Technically gets an answer, but he doesn't get an answer. One thing I will say, I absolutely love the Shinsuke Nakamura video packages. These Shinsuke Nakamura video packages, this is not a full repackage of Shinsuke Nakamura. People are thinking that this is a whole repackage throughout the past couple of months about what they've been doing with Shinsuke Nakamura. This isn't that. This is basically the Shinsuke Nakamura that we should have gotten ever since he got called up to the main roster back in 2017. That is the Shinsuke Nakamura that we are getting right now. This version of Shinsuke Nakamura is absolutely fantastic. And look, this is not a guy that is going to beat Roman Reigns or win the WWE Championship from Roman Reigns, but he can play an integral part in a main event scene. And from the way that you are presenting a guy like Shinsuke Nakamura, honestly, man, continue doing what they're doing. Because, again, Shinsuke Nakamura, as Cody Rhodes states, is a force to be reckoned with. And come on, man, you can't really complain about what they are doing with Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, a match was booked between Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke Nakamura for next week's episode of Raw. I would assume they would do a match at the Royal Rumble, but considering Cody Rhodes is focused on the Royal Rumble, there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to the Royal Rumble, which I'll be talking about in another video in another time, because one thing I will like about this Royal Rumble season is that the unpredictability, the possibilities are endless. At one point, everybody thought Gunther was going to win. At one point, everybody thought Cody Rhodes was going to win, but then CM Punk returned. Now a lot of people are thinking CM Punk is going to win the Royal Rumble. So who knows what they're going to be doing. They really want Cody to focus on the Royal Rumble, but at the same time, he's in this current feud with Shinsuke Nakamura. So I would assume that they'd probably end the Shinsuke Nakamura feud there next week, but knowing, WWE, they're probably going to drag. Even though they're going to have a match next week, I would assume they're probably going to be having a match at the Royal Rumble, but I may be totally wrong, and I may be speculating the stupidest shit possible. So that is just me, but nonetheless, pretty good segment. The crowd loves Cody Rhodes, and you can't really complain. And I'm loving the presentation of Shinsuke Nakamura. All right, moving on. We got main event. Main event, Jey Uso. And Kofi Kingston taking on Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser of Imperium. Gunther was not at this show because, of course, his wife gave birth to a baby. So congratulations to Gunther. Of course, Gunther right now is the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history. And his run has been so dominant, and it's one of the best things, not only in WWE right now, but really one of the best things in wrestling right now. Gunther is a force to be reckoned with, and he will be a world champion in 2024. Mark my words. But let's talk about this Jey Uso Kofi Kingston versus Imperium match. This match was going well, but it ended abruptly. We're going to go through the match first. Vinci and Kofi start. We get a splash by Kofi, and then we get a cover and a one count. We get a running deep crossbody, a deep running crossbody by Giovanni Vinci. Phenomenal stuff. Giovanni Vinci is a phenomenal athlete. How many times have I said the word phenomenal? Oh, my God. We get a stomp onto the back of Kofi. Kofi then fights off Kaiser, who is now the legal man. Kofi gets taken into the corner, but then Kaiser is in control. Kofi then, off the second rope, he hits a dropkick off the top. And then he runs the ropes, but Giovanni Vinci, who's on the outside, sweeps the legs of Kofi, basically tripping him. After that, Kaiser sends Kofi shoulder first to the ring post, and then Imperium hits the double dropkick, their signature double dropkick. I love that double team by Imperium. Once we're back in commercial break, Vinci is in control over Kofi Kingston. Then Kofi then tries to fight back, but then Vinci runs into a dropkick. What happens after that is Kaiser tags in, but what happens is the bell rings. And you guys remember that dropkick spot that I briefly mentioned a couple of moments ago, like a couple of seconds ago? Yeah, that was the reason why. So what happened was that Vinci ended up running into a dropkick by Kofi Kingston. So the bell abruptly rings, and a doctor is in the ring checking on Giovanni Vinci. And from what it looks like, it cracked a portion of his nose or face due to that drop kick by Kofi Kingston. Literally, he kicked Giovanni Vinci dead on in the face. That was an accident, of course. Then after that, the ring announcer specifically stated that Kofi Kingston and Jey Uso get the victory via referee stoppage. So this match ended abruptly because of an injury suffered by Giovanni Vinci. Hats off to the WWE medical team for stopping this match when needed to, because again, injuries tend to happen at any moment, at any time in wrestling, and wrestlers risk their lives every week, day in and day out. So hopefully Giovanni Vinci is all right. We haven't had an update yet as of the recording of this video. There is no update as to what is going on with Giovanni Vinci, but hopefully Giovanni Vinci is all right. Moving on, we have a video package of a match later on this show, that being Rhea Ripley and Ivy Nile. Of course, Ivy Nile is a part of Diamond Mine. After that, we get the Miz TV segment with the special guests, the Judgment Day. Of course, the Judgment Day is basically right now the top faction in all of World Wrestling Entertainment, and they have become some sort of a meme. Every time on Raw, whenever a main event wrestler is in the ring, first thing you hear is that Alter Bridge song, and they turn around and it's the Judgment Day. Nonetheless, though, this was a pretty hilarious segment. Of course, throughout the past couple of weeks, R-Truth is basically tormenting the Judgment Day, and he's kind of, in a way, the unofficial member of the Judgment Day, but the Judgment Day don't even want anything to do with R-Truth. R-Truth, of course, is the type of guy that is like, oh, my bad, but they're completely going forward with this whole R-Truth thing, and I can't help but laugh because it is absolutely amazing. R-Truth is a gem. I'll tell you that right now. R-Truth is a gem, and he is a very entertaining individual. But let's go on with this segment. The Miz wishes all of us a Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to all of you watching this review right now on the WrestleHavoc channel. He welcomes us to Miz TV. Of course, this is the first ever Day 1 edition of Monday Night Raw, and there's a lot of rumors on who the former WWE Champion will be that will be showing up tonight on the show. But he needs to bring out his guests, and he ends up bringing out the Judgment Day. But what happens is that instead of the Judgment Day, it ended up being R-Truth. Now, the week before, R-Truth defeated JD McDonough, and the stipulation was whoever loses leaves the Judgment Day. But from what it looks like, JD McDonough ain't having none of that, and he is still a part of the Judgment Day, which is hilarious. So R-Truth is in the ring. He says, San Diego, what's up? Miz calls him the most likable member of the Judgment Day, and Miz asks, where is everybody else? I said, where is everybody else, guys? Where is everybody else? Where is everybody else? Oh my God, I am so tongue-tied. Miz asks, where is everybody else? Truth swears that they were behind him. Wow, I thought they were behind me. And what happens is that he asks, is little Jimmy here? He's been waiting all day to say this. All rise to the Judgment Day. He always wanted to say that. He's been waiting a whole year to say that. All rise to the Judgment Day, says Truth. Miz says it sounds better than Damian Priest. And Miz asks, what is his role in the Judgment Day? And R-Truth did not hold back. He says he has many, many, many roles in the Judgment Day. You know, it's kind of complicated, actually. Today he was doing PR, then he was doing administrative work, and, you know, they always have a bad resume. He's trying to make the Judgment Day likable to everyone. And then, of course, J.D. McDonough and Dominic comes out, and they were really doing the boo train on Dominic on this one. What happens is, of course, J.D. McDonough stated that he is not a part of the Judgment Day. Dominic is speaking. He's saying that they are the most dominant faction in all of WWE, but you can't even hear a single word that he's saying because there's a shit ton of boos in the crowd. You guys know my thoughts on the whole Dominic Mysterio booing thing. Look, there's no denying the heat that Dominic Mysterio gets is real. And to an extent, it is working for his character. But, bro, like, to me, it's just a constant repetitive thing. That's just my opinion. You know, WWE always does this, and you know they have a valid argument as to why they do it. So I'm not really going to complain too much. But again, you know, WWE is just known for repetitiveness. That's just my opinion. But the crowd is just booing and booing and booing Dominic Mysterio, and it gets worse when he gets in the ring. Truth says, y'all see what I'm saying? Dominic is getting booed in his hometown of San Diego, California. And what happens is, of course, the loud boos continue, and he says, JD, you're not even in the Judgment Day. Remember, loser leaves Judgment Day, so you can be gone. Miz agrees with Truth, and Dominic replies, he tries to reply, but again, he is getting showered with boos in his hometown of San Diego. What happens after that is Miz says 2023 wasn't the best year for him, but right now he is more relevant than ever. Well, he's more relevant than ever because you're a babyface now. But, he is more relevant than ever, and, he kept going. And it's funny how the only moment that he has of Dominic was when he got spanked by his daddy, dragged around by his mommy, and the holiday tour getting whooped around by CM Punk, which that was CM Punk's first WWE match since 2014. Dominic is pissed off. Talks about how he's done talking, and we're going to continue their losing streak in 2024, and he's talking about Miz's losing streak, and with him and JD versus him, that being the Miz, and Truth right now. Miz accepts, and this part was hilarious. So Miz accepts the challenge, and Truth questions, he asks the question, oh wait, dog, am I tagging with Judgment Day or with you? And Miz is like, no, man, you're tagging with me. You remember the Awesome Truth back in 2011? A lot of people now, the reunion of the Awesome Truth, the guys do not remember the Miz and R-Truth back when R-Truth was a heel back in 2011. It was a short heel turn that R-Truth had. If you guys do not remember, they had the Awesome Truth with the Miz and R-Truth going absolutely ballistic all over WWE programming. Like, they were like kind of like outsiders, hijacking everything. If you guys do not remember, it's freaking hilarious to think R-Truth and the Miz, considering the positions that they are in right now. But a lot of people were talking about a reunion of the Awesome Truth and saying, oh my God, we want that. I'm going to be so excited. And I'm like, the Awesome Truth? I completely forgot about that. And you're excited about that? Good God, I'm old. Moving on, though. So Truth questions whether or not he is tagging either with the Judgment Day, since he technically a member of the Judgment Day. But Miz is like, no, you're tagging with me. And then Truth says, oh, man, what if it's one of those tag team tricks? Whatever. And then Truth accepts tagging with the Miz on behalf of the Judgment Day, which was hilarious. After that, we have the Awesome Truth, yes, for one night only, or maybe in a couple of nights, we do not know. The Awesome Truth taking on Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. It was an all right match. It was pretty funny, to say the least, but it's your typical comedy-type match with, of course, involving yours truly, R-Truth. We get a double team by JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio. We get a cover and a near fall. We get the head scissors by Miz. Truth tags in. We get a running kick by Miz, followed by a leg drop by Truth. Truth goes for a corkscrew crossbody, but then we get a splash into the corner by Truth. We get a cover and a near fall, but then JD McDonough is in control. Dominic tags in. Dominic ends up going for the 619. Once we're back from commercial break, Miz is in control. We get a springboard crossbody by the Miz. Then we get a cover by Miz and a kick out. Truth and Dominic are in the same corner. Yes, Truth and Dominic are in the same corner, and they are arguing. Oh, my God. We get a bulldog by the Miz. We get a cover into near fall when Dominic gets involved. We get a headbutt by JD McDonough. Truth then ends up tagging himself in as part of the Judgment Day. So it basically, there's a lot of confusion right now. Truth tagged himself in as a part of the Judgment Day. So basically he tagged either Dominic or JD McDonough. I completely forgot who he tagged, but he tagged one of the members of the Judgment Day. After that, JD McDonough and R-Truth argue. Dominic and JD, what happens is they dare R-Truth to attack the Miz. One of the members of Judgment Day hold on to the Miz, and that was actually JD McDonough. He held on to the Miz, and they dared him to give Miz a right hand. And what happens is Truth was like, I'm sorry, I love you, basically pulling a Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 24 to Ric Flair. That's exactly what he was going to do, but he was doing it in a comedic fashion. And what happens is he goes for the right hand, but Miz ducks, and by accident, he hits JD McDonough. And what happens is Truth has JD McDonough with him. He pushes JD McDonough to The Miz, which leads to Miz hitting the skull-crushing finale. And we get a cover, and The Miz and R-Truth get the win. And what happens is R-Truth still looks confused even after getting the win, and this man still thinks that he is a part of the Judgment Day, which is funny as hell. Overall, it was pretty hilarious to say the least talking about this, but not only that, watching the match. R-Truth, man, protect him at all costs, and it can literally be anything. R-Truth is a gem. I talked about this before, and I'll say it again. R-Truth is a gem. The guy is just absolutely hilarious. Anything that he is given, he will knock it out of the park, and he's one of those guys that can just sell you on comedy. You know, R-Truth is that damn good at what he does, and honestly, continue doing what you're doing with R-Truth, please. We got a video package of the new women's tag team champions, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. Of course, the life of a party. And speaking of a party, they were actually hanging out at a party at a club. And it shows them partying, and then all of a sudden, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven come in. They want their rematch. Piper and Katana say that they will be fighting champions, and they will go to Adam Pearce and grant their match. And of course, they splash champagne on the face of both Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Moving on. We got Rhea Ripley, the best women's wrestler, and personally my favorite women's wrestler in all of WWE right now. Rhea Ripley, the current women's world champion, defends her title against Diamond Mine's Ivy Nile. Of course, the Creed brothers a couple of weeks ago, and I believe it was a couple of months ago, they debuted on the Raw roster, and they have been making a big splash on the roster. And Ivy Nile, of course, is a part of Diamond Mine. And we had this match. Ivy Nile looked freaking great against Rhea Ripley. Both women looked absolutely well. One thing that I loved, of course, you guys remember how I love video packages when it comes to, you know, making a match feel special. I talked about that, how, you know, on this show in particular, since this show was treated like a pay-per-view, they aired video packages before every single major match going on this show. And this match was no different. But, of course, we did get a video package of this match earlier on the show. Instead, we got individual video packages of both Ivy Nile and Rhea Ripley. Everybody knows Rhea Ripley, but not a lot of people know who Ivy Nile is. And it was a great video package showcasing what Ivy Nile is capable of. And Michael Cole on commentary was really giving you more of an in-depth explanation of who she really is. She talks about how she had an MMA background, all that stuff. So, great stuff. Again, WWE they are masters at the art of the video package. They really know their stuff. They always have an attention to detail. That's really the beauty of the video packages in WWE right now. But moving on. Pretty good match, to say the least. Both lock up. Rhea drops her down. Ivy picks her up, but then Rhea goes for a drop kick. After that, we get a right elbow by Ivy Nile. Ivy gets taken to the apron, but then she goes to the top. She ends up hitting a crossbody on Rhea, but then we get a boot by Rhea, taking out Ivy Nile. After that, Rhea gets in the face of her, saying that she is nothing. She is absolutely nothing. And Ivy goes for the head scissors. And then Ivy drops Rhea down to the mat, sending Rhea to the outside. Once we're back in commercial break, Rhea is in control over Ivy Nile. Ivy fights back, but then Rhea hits a dropkick, sending Ivy to the outside. Then Ivy is on the shoulders of Rhea Ripley. Ivy escapes, and then she ends up hitting a German suplex with Rhea saying, "Oh shit," which is hilarious to say, which was hilarious, by the way, because USA Network actually censored that. After that, we get repeated kicks by Ivy Nile. We get a spinning kick. Then she ends up hitting the head scissors. And then after that, Ivy goes for the leg drop on Rhea Ripley. We get a spinning tornado DDT by Ivy Nile. And then we get a cover and a near fall. We get a headbutt into the corner by Rhea. Rhea goes to the top. She ends up hitting a missile dropkick. And then we get a cover by Rhea and a near fall. Rhea ends up going for the Riptide, but Ivy counters with a high kick. After that, Ivy goes for the gut wrench, and she goes for the cover once again, and we get a cover and another kick out. After the gut wrench spot, Ivy picks up Rhea, but Rhea ends up escaping. She ends up hitting a clothesline on Ivy Nile. Rhea face plants Ivy. We get a cover and a kick out. Rhea then places Ivy to the top rope, and then she goes to the second rope. Ivy fights back, but then both women exchange strikes. Ivy then goes for the sunset flip powerbomb, but then Rhea holds on. Ivy then ends up going for the German suplex off the second rope, and we get a cover by Ivy now and a kick out. After that, we get repeated kicks and strikes by Ivy. She goes to the top rope. She ends up hitting a crossbody, but lands into a headbutt by Rhea Ripley. After that, she ends up going for the knee strike, and then Rhea Ripley basically goes for the execution and ends up hitting the Riptide. After that, she goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. Rhea Ripley retains the Women's World Championship. Overall thoughts on this match? Great match overall. Rhea Ripley, I've been very critical of her title reign, but her character work and the work that she's been doing with Judgment Day, I mean, I've said it so many freaking times. She's absolutely phenomenal at what she does and clearly deserves the spot that she has because, again, Rhea Ripley is the definition of what you do with somebody if you just put your foot down and just go forward with that particular character, and Rhea Ripley is that character. Ivy Nile, I'm not really that familiar with her. I do not follow NXT. I did not follow a lot of the stuff that the Creed brothers were doing, but from what I have seen, they are absolutely amazing. She is great too. They showcased her very, very, very well. And again, WWE always has an attention to detail when it comes to their video packages, and they know how to introduce talent that you, the viewer, might not know, because not a lot of people watch NXT. Only roughly around 600,000 people a week watch NXT, which is not bad, but you get my drift. But nonetheless, pretty good match, great match. Rhea Ripley, as expected, retains the Women's World Championship. Moving on. We had this segment right here, and WWE was milking. Yes, they were milking this segment, or the hype around this segment. A former, they said it specifically, a former WWE champion set to make their return to Monday Night Raw. Who could it be? You know, there's a lot of speculation, and really the speculation went rampant as soon as Triple H tweeted out mentioning the rumors. I believe Sean Ross Sapp was the one that kind of started the rumors. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Triple H was the one that kind of tweeted out, you know, there's a lot of rumors going around about a former WWE champion. And he tweeted out, just stay tuned. Stay tuned. So there was a lot of hype. Who could it be? Well, you got a guy like Batista. A lot of people were saying Batista. But if it was really Batista, he would only just show up, you know, for an announcement of a Hall of Fame induction. Or maybe it could not be a former WWE champion, and it could be somebody who just left AEW, a guy like Andrade. But they specifically were smart with their words, and they did say a former WWE champion. Andrade is not a former WWE champion, even though it makes sense. And from what it looks like, Andrade is on his way back to the WWE. He finished up with AEW at World's End this past Saturday. He didn't return at this show. I do expect him to return sooner rather than later, though. So who could it be? Well, The Rock was in the news, and The Rock supposedly was in the same area that Raw was in. It was just a couple hours away from where Raw was at. So honestly, the most logical choice was The Rock. But what happened in this segment? Samantha Irvin, the ring announcer, was like, okay, let's bring out this former WWE champion. And there was a slow pause. The crowd was quiet because they were anxious to see who this person was making their return. And then all of a sudden, Jinder Mahal's music played, and I laughed at first. I'm like, this can't be Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal comes out. The crowd was just in shock. They're like, really? That's what we paid for? That is what we paid our ticket for? Jinder Mahal? But as Jinder Mahal was walking down the ring, you kind of knew this was kind of a ruse, and you kind of knew somebody else was going to come out. And even Michael Cole on commentary was even saying, I don't think this is what the fans wanted, which was hilarious to think, but it is very true. Nobody wants to see Jinder Mahal. But Jinder Mahal cuts this promo. There are loud boos, of course, by the crowd, and he cuts this promo. You have the audacity to be disappointed of the return of the modern-day Maharaja. And let me remind you, he is the past and he is a future WWE champion. He specifically said he will be a future WWE champion. Oh, God help us. 50 WWE champions competed in this ring, and his name is on the top. The only thing disappointing is what has become of our world's greatest nation of the United States of America. Disgusting. United Look around. Is this unity? Do you feel united? You people have never been this divided. Your politics, news, and social media is all the same. Ignorance, misinformation. This country was once a superpower. Now it is a joke, says Jinder Mahal. But I will unify all of you. I should say, am your unifier. If you don't believe me, shut your mouths and listen. And he ends up speaking in Punjabi. And he says, exactly the point. Finally, all of you are united in one thing. You boo your national anthem in Punjabi. That is a new low even for you people in San Diego. So basically, he was singing the national anthem in Punjabi, and the crowd was still booing. After that, he says, you boo me because I look different and I speak different. But unlike the Iron Sheik and other superstars that have exposed America, I speak with intelligence and I speak the truth, says Jinder Mahal. Once again, I will speak in Punjabi. So he speaks in Punjabi once again. And then what happens is once he speaks in Punjabi, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, The Rock comes out and the crowd just goes absolutely crazy. Everybody loves The Rock. I know I love The Rock too, so I popped too. But I kind of knew The Rock was going to show up considering he was in San Diego. But The Rock came out. Everybody is going absolutely ballistic for The Rock. And, we get a bunch of Rocky chants by the crowd. And he says, you are in trouble tonight, he says The Rock to Jinder Mahal. Before they let The Rock, before all of this, let me make something perfectly clear. You're right about one thing. You are not the Iron Sheik. Rest in peace, Sheik, because The Rock knows the Iron Sheik. We all loved the Iron Sheik. And if he were here, he would say, who is this no-good jabroni son of a beach bastard? And yes, that would be something that the Iron Sheik would say. And damn, man, he would always be like, damn you, Hulk Hogan. Always talking shit on Hulk Hogan. Yeah, love it. Gotta love it. Jinder continues to talk him down. And then, of course, he talks about how he would be ashamed of himself and disgusted if he was The Rock. But he is damn proud, or that being The Rock. The Rock replies, he is damn proud to be the people's champion. And The Rock is damn proud to be an American. And The Rock is especially damn proud to say, finally, The Rock has come back to San Diego. And if you come out here and you run your mouth about why they boo him, they boo you because... Oh, wait, what's that? What's that, Sheik? Oh, okay. They boo you because you are the biggest asshole walking God's green earth. That is exactly what The Rock stated. And the crowd just laughed. And there's that look on your face, that angry face that you have all the time. We're all familiar with the resting bitch face, says The Rock. It's the raging asshole face. Why are you so angry? If The Rock had to guess, it's because no one likes you. If you were basically any one of The Rock's movies, you would be Baywatch. You would be Baywatch. That was funny. And he says, wait, you didn't see Baywatch? And what happens is he asks Jinder Mahal, oh, wait, you didn't see Baywatch? And then, of course, he goes for, it doesn't matter if you haven't seen Baywatch or did watch Baywatch. And he says, you have the gall to say America is a joke. It ain't a joke to The Rock or everybody watching on television. Here's what else that isn't a joke. And he grabs the mic, running down our country. You can't run a free consequence from The Rock. Tonight, he isn't the modern-day Maharaja. Today, he is the day one douchebag. And the crowd is chanting day one douchebag. And I'll tell you what. We will work in sync. The Rock has an idea. The Rock will show you what real unifying means. This whole side of the arena will chant day one. And the other side of the arena will chant douchebag. And then the crowd does their thing. Literally, one side of the crowd is like, day one. The other side of the crowd is douchebag. So basically, they're just taking turns, day one, douchebag. Day one, douchebag. And that was the case for like a whole minute. And he did the same thing when he returned this past fall. And he did the same thing with Austin Theory, which was absolutely great. You can tell The Rock always knows how to really grab the aura of the audience in the palm of his hands. That is how good The Rock is. And he's one of the best to ever do it. So the crowd does their thing. And what happens is, since he loves his national anthem, he will sing a little verse, and it goes like this. And he basically sings a modified version of the national anthem, ending with him saying that he is going to whoop that candy ass. And what happens after that is Jinder goes straight for the attack on The Rock because Jinder Mahal has had enough. And what happens is we get a spine buster by The Rock because Rock fights back. He hits the spine buster and he riles up the crowd. He goes for the People's Elbow, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, the People's Elbow. You get my drift. After that, he hits the People's Elbow. He didn't go for a rock bottom, unfortunately. And then he spanks him with the belt, and then Jinder Mahal leaves. After that, and these are very important lines. These are very important last few lines that The Rock stated. San Diego, I love you. Happy New Year. By the way, one more thing. Tonight, after all this ass kicking, I will go out in San Diego because I'm a little hungry. Got to get something to eat, But when The Rock says he's going to get something to eat, should The Rock sit in a booth? Should The Rock sit at the bar? Going to a bar would be very good. Or should The Rock, and this line right here, man, The Rock, this line had everybody talking. Or should The Rock sit at the head of the table? And then the place just absolutely exploded. The place just exploded in hype. Everybody went crazy. Of course, he's talking about none other than your tribal chief, Roman Reigns. What are my thoughts? What are my thoughts on The Rock calling out your tribal chief, Roman Reigns? I love it. I absolutely love it. I cannot complain because at the end of the day, a match between The Rock versus Roman Reigns is good for business. I know I sound like a kiss ass and a shill, and that is exactly what Triple H would say, but it is true. Roman Reigns versus The Rock will make bank. There's no denying that. There's no denying that The Rock versus Roman Reigns will make money. They will make money. There's no denying that. But, and this is a big, 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 big but. And no, I'm not talking about ass. I'm talking about butt. The other butt. The other butt. I'm sorry. I want to be entertaining everybody. There's one major but. And that but is the match should not happen at WrestleMania. There, I said it. The match should not happen at WrestleMania. The Rock versus Roman Reigns has been a discussion forever now. Ever since Roman Reigns turned heel in 2020, everybody was like, oh my God, what if we get a match between The Rock versus Roman Reigns? And that was close to becoming a reality last year. Last year at WrestleMania Goes Hollywood. If there was any logical place to do it, it would have been in Hollywood at WrestleMania. It makes sense. But of course, The Rock and his schedule interfered with everything, and we never got the match. After that, I completely moved on from the idea, and I still, in a way, kind of moved on from the match. The Rock versus Roman, every time when somebody would mention, even to this day, I'd get absolutely pissed off. Like, bro, can we stop talking about The Rock versus Roman Reigns? Seriously. The match is not going to happen. After this segment, though, I can't lie. I got excited. Because it's The Rock. The Rock can literally sell you on anything. You know how he talked about guys like Eddie Kingston can sell you on anything, or a guy like Samoa Joe can sell you on anything. The Rock is the master of that. The Rock is the master of selling you anything. Because he's the fucking Rock. The Rock. He's the people's fucking champion. The guy knows how to cut a promo. The guy knows how to control the audience. He is that damn good. He's one of the best to ever do it. If you want to put him on a Mount Rushmore, you can. He is the Rock. But what happens? Rock and Roman. It is a big money match. But it should not happen at WrestleMania. It should not happen at WrestleMania. It would make no sense for that match to happen at WrestleMania. Why do I say that? Well, The Rock, I assume, if he does wrestle Roman Reigns, which seems more likely now, let's be honest with ourselves. This is most likely going to be The Rock's last match. It is. It's most likely going to be The Rock's last match. And it's going to be a one-off, right? It's going to be a one-off. The Rock is not going to wrestle after he wrestles Roman Reigns. But it should not happen at WrestleMania. Why? Well, there's this other guy that is, not only set, or not really set, but they teased it a couple of months ago. But he's basically set to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania in a rematch. They teased it already. And that is, of course, Cody Rhodes. Not only that, Cody Rhodes is set to become the top babyface of the company. He already is the top babyface of the company. And once he beats Roman Reigns, in which we all know he will, and he should not lose again towards Roman Reigns. I was against him losing last year. I was against Cody Rhodes losing last year at WrestleMania. But now looking back, Cody Rhodes losing at WrestleMania last year to Roman Reigns made sense. Because Cody Rhodes, at the end of the day, was facing a lot of obstacles from a creative standpoint and from a storyline standpoint, and it made sense. They're telling Cody Rhodes' version of Hard Times. They are telling the Dusty Rhodes story, but with Cody Rhodes. Hence why we have Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns most likely happening at this year's WrestleMania, and that is your said main event. That is your Night 2 main event for WrestleMania. If Rock versus Roman happened at WrestleMania, and that was your Night 2 main event, and no, it's not going to be Rock versus Roman and Cody versus Roman on Night 1 and Night 2 on back-to-back nights. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It makes no sense for that to do, for you to do that. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Because we have another match, that being Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, in which we all know that match is going to be your Night 1 WrestleMania main event. After that amazing promo that Seth Rollins and CM Punk cut a couple of weeks ago on Raw, that is your Night 1 WrestleMania main event. So you're basically, if you put Rock and Roman in the main event of Night 2 of WrestleMania, you're basically jeopardizing a top moneymaker in Cody Rhodes. Because after that, what are you going to do with Cody Rhodes? What happens to Cody Rhodes if he is not in the main event at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns? He never got to finish his story. Everybody was touting, oh, let's finish the story. I have to finish the story. But Cody never finished his story. And you want The Rock versus Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania Night 2? You want The Rock versus Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania Night 2? What happens to Cody? Cody Rhodes is going to get shunned by the wayside. Why do you want that? That is your top babyface. That is why it should not happen at WrestleMania. Instead, and most likely this is exactly what I see WWE doing, because they were very smart to book Elimination Chamber in a stadium in Australia. That is your main event for the Elimination Chamber. That is your main event for the Elimination Chamber. The Rock versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed title. If anything, doing The Rock versus Roman Reigns first and then going to Cody versus Roman, having Roman Reigns beat The Rock only solidifies Roman Reigns as an even more stronger individual and a more stronger wrestler. And it becomes more adversity for Cody Rhodes heading into WrestleMania. He beat guys like Edge. He beat guys like Bryan Danielson. He beat a guy like John Cena. Hell, he beat The Undertaker. Well before he turned heel, he beat The Undertaker. If Roman Reigns beats The Rock at the Elimination Chamber, it only solidifies Roman Reigns as a more dominant figure heading into WrestleMania. Hence why you have Cody Rhodes coming in and beating Roman Reigns. And that makes Cody Rhodes a much stronger individual and a much stronger champion that people can get behind. I just gave you a whole summary of why The Rock versus Roman Reigns should not happen at WrestleMania and instead should happen at the Elimination Chamber. That is my reasoning. And I don't care what anybody says, my reasoning makes sense. The Rock versus Roman Reigns, after this promo right here, is going to happen at the Elimination Chamber. And it should happen at the Elimination Chamber. Because if it happens at the Elimination Chamber, it's literally a win-win for everybody. You got your Elimination Chamber main event in a almost sold-out stadium in Australia, and you're going to do mega business over there. I mean, they're already doing mega business everywhere, but it's going to be more mega business on top of that. You got your night one main event with Seth Rollins and CM Punk, which is going to be probably one of the most anticipated WrestleMania main events of all time. And night two WrestleMania main event with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, which is going to be your main most anticipated WrestleMania main event. It's a win-win-win. That's it. It should not be, people. It should not be The Rock versus Cody or The Rock versus Roman. Oh my God, I'm mixing up my words. It should not be The Rock versus Roman in the main event of WrestleMania Night 2. And no, it should not be a triple threat match. That is something Vince McMahon would do. So whoever is saying that, shut up. You don't know wrestling. Elimination Chamber is the night to do it. Period. That is all I got to say about that whole scenario. But The Rock calls out Roman Reigns, mentioning the head of the table. Clear as day, we're going to be getting a Rock versus Roman match after all of the shitty speculation that we've been getting from a lot of people hoping that this match happens at WrestleMania. We're going to get it, but we're not going to get it at WrestleMania. We're going to get it at the Elimination Chamber because it makes sense. WWE, and people need to realize this, WWE right now, the name value of WWE is so big right now that they don't need WrestleMania to sell you on a big match. You know, they're at a position right now where a normal B show is not just a B show anymore. People need to understand that. Shows like Backlash, shows like Elimination Chamber, shows like, hell, I don't know, maybe Extreme Rules, but really, mostly those shows, Elimination Chamber or shows like Backlash, those types of shows are no longer viewed as B shows. Those shows are viewed as extravaganzas. They're at a position right now that they can literally put any match at any particular B show and they will do monster business. They're at that position. You don't have to book this match at WrestleMania. That's another reason. But those are my thoughts on The Rock versus Roman Reigns. We're definitely going to be getting that match at this point. Moving on. Okay. We got Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark versus Natalya and Tegan Nox. Garlic Knots. Tegan Nox. Nobody gave a shit about this match. I'm not even going to go through this match, considering the match didn't even last long, and nobody gave a damn because everybody was talking about The Rock. We had a German suplex by Shayna, followed by a Z360. Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler get the win. Moving on to our main event, we had Seth Rollins taking on Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. Overall thoughts on this match, a great main event. I loved this match. Everything about this match was 100%, I don't want to say perfect, but the last few moments of the match was really, really, really good. A great main event. A lot of people expected Drew McIntyre to get the win, but I do not see Seth Rollins dropping the world title anytime soon. If anything, he's going to take that title all the way till WrestleMania because, as I talked about when I was ranting and raving about when I was ranting and raving about Rock versus Roman, your night one main event is definitely going to be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. But moving on, let's go through the match. Rollins goes straight for a boot. Drew fights back with a couple of chops. We got a series of right hands by Drew McIntyre. We get a kick by Rollins. Drew gets sent to the outside, but then we get a right hand by Rollins. Rollins then gets dropped face first onto the announce table. Drew sets up the Alabama Slam on the outside, but then Seth escapes and makes it back into the ring. We get a boot by Rollins, followed by a tope suicida, but then Drew catches Seth Rollins and hits a belly-to-belly throw. Once we're back from commercial break, both men are exchanging chops. Rollins is down. Rollins tries to fight back, but then we get a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by Seth Rollins. We get a cover and a near fall. Drew then picks up Rollins and is on the second rope. After that, Rollins escapes. He has Drew up. Rollins, his back gives out. Later on, Drew McIntyre runs shoulder first to the ring post. Rollins then ends up going for a senton over the top rope on the outside. Drew gets sent back into the ring, but then Rollins tries to pick up Drew, but then Drew counters. Seth then counters the backbreaker into a tornado DDT. Seth goes to the top, he hits a frog splash, and we get a cover by Rollins and a near fall. Seth misses a springboard moonsault, landing on his feet. Drew goes to the top, but then Rollins comes back. He hits a superplex, and he tries to go for the Falcon Arrow. but Drew instead counters and hits a Michinoku driver. We get a cover by Drew and a near fall. Once we're back in commercial break, both are on the top. Then all of a sudden, Drew McIntyre hits the white noise. Yes, Sheamus' move, white noise off the top. We get a cover and a kick out. We get a chop by Drew, followed by a chop by Rollins. Rollins ends up going for the Enziguri, but then we get a super kick by Rollins. He misses the stomp. Drew then goes for the Future Shock DDT. Drew gets himself up, but then Rollins continues, or I should say counters the Claymore into a sit-out powerbomb. After that, we get a cover and a near fall. Rollins goes to the top rope, but then he tries to go for the Phoenix Splash, but he misses. Drew goes for the Claymore, but he misses once again. Then Seth goes for the super kick on Drew, but then we get a pedigree by Rollins. We get a cover and a kick out. Then Damian Priest. Yes, Damian Priest, Senor Money in the Bank of the Judgment Day, comes out, and he hits Rollins with the briefcase, and basically he sends Dominic to distract the referee. And what happens is Priest hits Rollins with the briefcase, but what happens is once he's about to cash in, Drew hits a Claymore on Damian. After that, he takes out Dominic. Back in the ring, Drew ends up hitting a Claymore on Seth Rollins. We get a cover and a near fall when Rollins gets his foot on the bottom rope. At this point, Seth Rollins is out. Drew McIntyre is pissed off, and he's so pissed off that he exposes the announce table. After that, Drew picks up Rollins. Rollins counters and hits a pedigree on the table, but the table didn't even break. Once we're back into the ring, we get a stomp by Rollins, and we get a cover. Seth Rollins retains the World Heavyweight Championship, closing off the Day 1 edition of Monday Night Raw. Overall thoughts on this match, a really good main event in my opinion. Seth Rollins is one of the best wrestlers in the world, period. From an in-ring standpoint, the guy's crazy, and he's phenomenal. Drew McIntyre, take nothing away from Drew McIntyre. A lot of people thought Drew McIntyre was going to walk away with the world title, but I personally do not believe that was going to happen, and honestly, Seth Rollins, again, is going to have that title up till WrestleMania, because we all know your Night 1 main event, and that is, of course, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, and that opens up a whole new discussion when it regards to the Royal Rumble, because a lot of people do not know who's going to win the Royal Rumble. There's 3 different possibilities. It's either Gunther, Cody, or CM Punk, and in my opinion, the guy that is most likely going to win the Royal Rumble, especially with all the hype behind him, it's clearly CM Punk. But nonetheless, a great main event. Could we be seeing a rematch in the future? I doubt it, but we're going to have to wait and see what goes on. All eyes right now are on the Royal Rumble, but overall, this was a great match to close off the show. And yeah, that was my Monday Night Raw episode review, the Day 1 episode of Monday Night Raw from January 1st, 2024. Overall thoughts on this show. It was a great show. Was it the best show? No, but everybody's only going to be talking about one thing, and of course, and that is the return of The Rock and him calling out Roman Reigns, and that pretty much sets the stage for the match between The Rock and Roman Reigns at a future date, whether that is WrestleMania, which should not happen, or at the Elimination Chamber. But yeah, that was my Raw review from January 1st, 2024. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications, and be on the lookout for more videos right here on the WrestleHavoc channel, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as always, it is Flamin' Rick, Ricky DeRays. And by the way, ring that damn bell for notifications. I almost forgot that. But as always, it is Flamin' Rick, Ricky DeRays, signing out. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.